since last Wednesday, basically. Our pieces became one, and we have this great wall in the center of Paralimni. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this in English, ladies and gentlemen, but I will be doing a bit of translation as well, since our guest, Mr. Ash, is here today. And I'm very, very happy that you're here today, Mr. Ash.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm very well.
I need you to come a bit closer to the microphone, so...
Is this good?
Yes, that's perfect. So our audience will listen to us. First of all, I want to know the basic... I want to know what brings you in this island. Before anything, I want to know what brings you and what's the connection with Cyprus and mostly with our area.
This is a good question. I first came to Cyprus in 1987 for a weekend, and I loved it, and I never came back again until 2010. I bought an apartment, and then after the revolution in Egypt, I decided to start making my home in Cyprus, and I loved the area. The area is wonderful, and the people, and etc.
And then you fell in love with the place.
The place is wonderful because people are, when you live in a city, and you've lived in a city all your life, you start to appreciate to be outside of the city, to be in a place where you can communicate easily with people, and Paralimni is very easy.
Yes.
Especially when you are here in the winter, not as a tourist. When you're here as a tourist, it's one thing. When you are here in the winter and everybody starts to say, who's this Egyptian? Then it becomes a different story. You start to have fun with everybody.
So this all gave you the motivation to create Didaskalia Alexandrias?
Didaskalia Alexandrias is a project that is in my heart for a long time. It is not easy to do a project like this in a city like Cairo. It's impossible in a city like Cairo with 110 million people. Even in Cyprus, it's not so easy. But when you start to work in a small place where people are able to listen to you and where the community you already came to know, between George Philactou, for example, of Xenion, between the mayor, between Father Iraklis, all these people, once they start listening to you and to see a little bit of your vision, they make accessible to you the young people. And the young people have hearts that are still thriving, that are still looking for aspirations, they still believe, they still have the dream of the love of their life, they still have the dream of immortality, even if they don't know it. And although the old people start to fade away from this, so young people become like a little salt. So what I mean by a little salt is if we start working with young people in Paralimni, like the 48 people who are on this wall, these young people become ambassadors. They become a little bit of salt. And if we grade the project, this first project is a kindergarten project. What does it mean, a kindergarten? Not the art. The art is fantastic. Kindergarten project means that this is just a project like in kindergarten where you are playing and inquiring. The second project, you learn with your head, and then you express emotion through a play, for example. I'm speaking too much?
No.
Okay. And then the third one would become a higher one of emotive culture. All of these are emotive culture, not intellectual culture. So the first one we called it kindergarten. The second one is primary education, where you learn and then you express emotion through a play or through something which is creative. And the third one is where you do abstraction. What does it mean, abstraction? Abstraction is, for example, when you start to learn. Let us take art as one of the projects, because we're doing three projects,
yes.
3 programs: art, global issues, and philosophy. If we take art, in the first one was, okay, learn anything and express yourself as you please. In the second one, it would be, come, we will teach you about the philosophy of colors and shapes. Why is the color red expressive of action and movement? Why is the color blue expressive of intellectual? Why is the triangle directional? Why is these are the things that we will teach so that kids can start to abstract from the worst thing. The worst thing that we have today. In the 80s, you had a president, a nice president, his name is Vasiliou. He came over to this area when I came, in the same time when I was here, came over to this area because there was, as I understood, a little bit of, like the rest of the world, a problem with drugs. Today we don't have a problem with drugs. Or we might, but what we really have a problem with is the toxicity of the internet. Our kids are traveling on websites that are taking them to very dark places. And when they will travel to Europe and you send them to universities in Europe, these little things that they got on the internet, they will start to try and find. If we don't put an anchor, an emotive anchor, a heart, like the ancient Greeks, they used to call the heart the compass. And they used to say that the mind is like a ship that is on the waves of the sea. If there is no compass and there is no anchor, the ship will fall on the rocks. So that's what we do.
With your speech now, Mr. Ash, you have answered to me in 10 questions that I was going to ask you, but thank you very much. Even though I want to know, because you had the vision, you are the founder of this, and you had the vision to create this. Now I want to know how pleased you are with the work, with the way you communicate with people here, the teachers, the kids. Did you get back what you were visioning? Did you get back, are you satisfied with what the results was? And how people, they applaud for this? Are you happy with this? Did your vision bring you what you needed?
Yes, I am very happy for a reason. We planted the seed. The seed is, it can be done. The emotive culture program, which is going next to an intellectual program that is done with schools and universities, the emotive culture program is something that can be done. And it can be done in Paralimni, and it can spread from Paralimni. If we can do this and we can create a somatio made of 20 people from across Cyprus, we will have the possibility of doing what is something phenomenal. We will revive tradition that was available in the time of the Greeks and early Christians, tradition which says the heart is so important to balance the psyche. Without the heart, there is no balance. If we do this, then we have a somatio that does this across Cyprus, and we can have a program that is agreed to by intellectuals and emotive people who care about this country and who care about the kids. We would have something fantastic that I believe UNESCO will say, wow.
For me, it's got all the abilities to succeed, that.
I hope.
And not just me, of the very special guest you had on the reveal the other night, even people from the government that they attend to the event, they left and they felt fulfilled. They felt beautiful. It was full of emotions, and they are willing to take this one step ahead. I think that this project, which is one of the projects, it has all the abilities to get out of Cyprus, and people can identify with it easily, because it has to do with kids' soul, and it hits everything. It hits violence in the family, it hits loneliness, it hits drugs, it hits like racism, everything, bullying, nations. It's just, I would love this painting, like really, I'm not just saying that, but I would love a copy of it to be hung in my place, because this wall speaks so many languages, and it gives us so many emotions and colors on the same time. Usually you see it, this is what abstract is anyway. I know abstract is what comes to your mind, but that wall has so many things to say.
You have said the key word. The wall has something to say. It speaks. The wall speaks to our heart. And we're not used to listening with our heart. We listen with our mind. Once you listen with your heart, you can stop and you say, oh, there is something here. Shall I wake up and take care of it? Or shall I close my eyes and continue in the same way that I was going? If you want to take care of it, you say, let's do this somatio, let's build, let's go forward, let's see how we can have in 5-7 years time a generation that says, we care.
I was going to ask you, what was your ambition, and how do you see that moving up the somatio that you say? And where is your targets? Where do you want to target to make a successful Somalia? Because you know, you need people to share the same passion.
The first people are the people who are near me. It's not possible for me to speak to somebody in a different context. So the people who are closest to me are the strong people from the area who I will approach, each one of them on an individual basis, humbly, and ask them if they believe in the possibility of this project to add to our area. Not only to, first of all, it will add to the kids, taking them away from a little bit away from the cafes and the internet and cyber world, but it will also add to Paralimni, because if out of Paralimni comes an inter-municipality, uniform cultural program, the concept of it, supported by wonderful people who are good businessmen, who are strong in this area, and this spreads, and the best ambassadors for the project are the 48 kids. They're the ones I'm hiring without money.
It's all about passion, and it's all about giving the right messages out. For me, basically, I could easily have you the whole 2 hours in my show because there's so many things to say. But humbly, as you said before, I wanted you to pass from the radio show because I wanted to say thank you.
Thank you.
No, I wanted to say thank you as a citizen, as a person here, that a guy from Egypt loves this place, treasure and motivates kids of my area to express themselves. And I would like to thank you for giving motivation and bringing culture in the area as an Egyptian.
I don't bring culture. Your culture is here for the last 3,000 years and more.
You're awakening it up there.
Yes, we covered it with a little bit of a veil.
Yes, you're awakening it up.
But as you said, thank you. It's me who has to say, I have to say thank you, first of all, to you guys, because you've been wonderful, you and Kostas, you've been wonderful and supportive in this.
You're welcome.
Mayor Perilis was wonderful, he's helped, George Filak too, he's wonderful. Everybody who came in contact with me and heard a little bit about my passion and my desire to do this, some kids weren't even ready to participate in this, but once they've participated, now they're saying we want to go for the next one.
Yes. I wish you all the best with Heliopolis Youth Culture, with the Didaskalia Alexandrias. People can join and see the project. The project will be in Paralimni on the main square, St. Georgiou, here.
We will try to take it, we will try to make it travel.
We'll try to make a tour all over the island.
That would be wonderful.
I wish you all the best. I think you have a good feedback, and the people that came, they're all willing to welcome it. And I wish you all the best, and thank you once again for being here today, Mr. Ash.
Thank you very much. Thank you.